Help Action Needed, a D&D podcast.
Hello everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Help Action Needed, a D&D podcast. My name is Sean Hardy, and I will be the DM for today's session. But before we get into it, let the players introduce themselves.
Hi, I am Kate Pizarczyk-Johnson, and I play Nori.
I'm Dan Johnson, and I'm playing Cass.
I'm Julie Perez, and I play Frog.
Nice. So, at the end of our last episode, we had lots of little nice things coming into scene. We had seen that Nori was getting some training from Kilana about how to use Fey magic for dreams. We saw Cass build up the start of a building for a town and also, for a home in town, bringing the town together and also running into his old best friend Beirut, as well as seeing Frog willingly step through a tree, not telling someone what favor they would be owed or anything, but agreeing to figure it out later, to the town in which her mother died. And that's the scene we're going to pick up with as we start. So Frog, you see you step through this fiery tree and you come out on the other side, a very dead and withered looking one, sort of out of town of where Mary's Rise itself actually is. Is there anything you would be trying to guide towards first, or are you just kind of taking in the entire scene?
She would definitely take a pause and stop and stand there for a minute and just look around at what was once her home. Looking for houses of her friends, her own house, looking for where the stores would be and things like that. And then after a moment, she would guide Victorina to where her house used to stand.
Yeah. And as you walk in, part of what you all know about the town is that it's all partially submerged now as well. Without anything maintaining it, the water levels have gotten through and risen because it is a coastal town. And so you guide just through 2 or 3 inches of water everywhere you go to the remains of the wood parts are far and removed, whether they burned away or whether they have just gone away in time. But there are still stone outlines of where things would have been house-wise. And you're definitely able to point out some oh, that used to be a store, that used to be a house. This is where I used to live. And can you just make me a wisdom saving throw?
Yes. $14.
14, okay. It doesn't cause you any harm or problem, but as you walk through and give name again to places, you can feel the spirits of the people tied to those places, trying to latch out to you as someone that knows who they are. But on a 14, they don't succeed, and you're able to just kind of they retreat away as you pass, but you do feel them actively trying to engage you.
Okay. While she's feeling those people trying to engage with her, she's going to think to herself and try to see if her mom can hear her. So she'll say "Mom, are you there? I'm back." But in her head, because she knows her mom is tied to her somehow.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I don't think you immediately get an answer.
Okay. Right, then she will turn to Victorina and ask her what they should do or if she has any information based on what they're seeing in the town and how they can connect with her mother.
Yeah. Well, I'll need to walk the town a bit to get a full lay of it. The water is rather annoying, as it will have cleared away some of the marks, but if it's a flame that took down an entire town, it's a flame that's not easy to hide, so I can get something out of it for you. In terms of contacting your mother, you could either open yourself to the realm around you and allow an entire floodgate of ghosts to find you, or that'd be the easier option. It just wouldn't be easy for you, but it would be the easier option. Or you could go and see if you can find something of hers that has like a strong association, or if you have something pre-death of hers, you could use that as a sort of tether and try and... You don't seem like someone that's fully studied like necromancy or divination, but you can always try.
I do have her bracelet that I wear.
Yeah, that should work.
Okay.
And do you know where in town she died? Yeah, you would get like a
It was,
flash of where
yeah.
you were running away, so you know it has to be at one of the edges of town.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. So I think it was the edge probably closest to where their house was. So like heading south maybe. Or
Heading
wait.
south would be into the ocean. Heading north or west.
Okay, maybe I'm misremembering the map. Sure. Heading
Mary's
out.
Ice at the southeast point of. It's like on the ocean, on the southeast point of.
Oh,
the
maybe I
north.
was thinking Narada was. Is that north?
Yeah, that's in the north, yeah.
Okay, that's the one I was thinking of. Sorry. Yeah, just heading out of town to the west, probably.
Okay. Then yeah, you head over and find likely areas that could be while she just kind of does a cursory thing. Nori, what's it like as you're studying dream magic? What are you trying to achieve with the time Kilana has allowed you?
Trying to make as many cool things pop up that I can imagine. Feeling like this training that Kilana is hopefully guiding me through would be more in like a meditative state. So sitting in my crisscross applesauce stance, floating in the air in her home, I'll think of like a 5-pound bag of coffee beans pop up in front of me. And see if that happens.
Yeah. That like things that are like things you already know are easy. The things like if you wanted to push yourself, you're going to have to imagine like how to change something or how to create something. Like just summoning things that are real is very easy.
Okay.
To make growth, you're going to need to do something that's not easy.
Okay. Then I will think of a book and see if I can conjure anything that would be similar to my own experience trying to figure out the relationship that Fae can have with humans based on the previous war and my family's experience, so I can get another individual's perspective to see how it is similar to mine.
Yeah, and again, something that exists in the world, very easy to bring in. If you want to try and make like a fairy tale of your own story, that would be harder to do. Or if you wanted to try and like pull a truth that doesn't exist into reality, or you want to try and make creatures that you've never seen before, that'd be fun. But if you're just like saying, oh, I want another person's experience, that's something that's happened, and that's something you can just grab from the ether while you're here.
Okay.
You're thinking far too literally. Like, you need to, like, invent and want and desire. Not, oh, I would like this. If it's already there, it's not a dream, it's a reality. You need to think like dreams think.
I will then delve deeper into my subconscious, take another deep breath, and see if I can imagine. I will try to imagine life with my brother if he hadn't had passed away in the war.
Okay. Yeah, roll either Insight or Arcana.
Adding my modifier?
If you have one for it, yep.
Okay. Well, I'm not very smart, so I'm gonna do some insight.
Okay.
22.
Yeah. On a 22, when you open your eyes, what does the scene playing out around you look like of life of Nori in the modern day with her brother never having died?
Um, it would look like Nori. I would still be back in the Fae realm, with my brother and our parents living in like a little communal hut or housing unit for each other, with each
Would
kind
you
of
still be married?
yes. So each one of us still having like our little huts, and my brother being married to a longtime friend of his as well. So us all having that in common. In addition to him working with wood and being a whittler, if that's what it's called. So he would make furniture and help with some of the designs of the architecture in the town, with some of the wood finishings on the outside and the art. But his passion would be whittling for children and making little children's toys and figurines. And so partaking in that with him, and him obviously being the more dexterous one of us, so having a much higher talent, and mine just kind of look like the second grader drawings that we all have, but in wood form. And so just continuing to prosper as a family, and not necessarily worrying about the human realm at all.
Can you make me a charisma saving throw?
Sure. Man. Oh yeah. 11.
Yeah, on an 11, you're seeing this reality play out before you, and then you feel yourself like sucked into it, as though you have now this lived experience, like you are in your own waking dream, and everything you just described is happening, and everything around you is going on, and everything feels right.
Well, that is a change of pace. I will continue exploring my reality. So I don't know that it's a dream. It now feels like my reality instead.
Yeah, like kind of like you are like if you spend a lot of time looking, things could not make sense, but your brain's also doing that like dismissive thing. Can you just roll just like a straight wisdom check real quick?
Huh. Well, at least I'm partially wise. 23.
Okay. Yeah, as you're like looking around, it's hard to hear and hard to focus on, but you do remember when Kilana told you earlier in the day, it's easy to get lost in dreams. And I think you have that to hold yourself as a tether. But you are lost, and you are in your dream, and you're going to need to find a way out. But for right now, you're living in your idealistic life.
Solid. That sounds great.
Cass, speaking of idealistic lives, what's going on with you?
So, following the hard day's work, Cass just changing clothes really quick and getting ready to head to Beirut just to catch up a little bit more in a more relaxed setting. And as he does this, he walks into what I can only imagine is a very solid attempt. Looking at a partially clean floor, like there's just, you can see water around, but you can definitely tell he's been hopping with that rag all day, just trying to clean this area up. So seeing that, just sort of walk in and see Archimedes just passed out, like I'm assuming like in the bucket, like the towel is on his feet still, and he's just asleep in the bucket of water at this point. And with that, Cass just sort of creeps in, just changes clothes again, just still commoner's clothes, like not trying to do anything fancy, and then quietly shuts the door, going back out to meet up with Beirut.
Yeah, Archimedes passed out in the bucket. You can just hear him going, I am a clean frog. dreaming about the day he had. Yeah, and you make your way out. You know the layout of town, but you also know that like he's moved. Like the house he's in isn't the house he grew up in. So Beirut is standing at like the edge of the farm, waiting for you to take you to his place.
All right. Just make my way over to him and be like, all right, well, let's go see what you've done for yourself.
Yeah. And, he takes you not in town. Like he still lives in the vicinity of town, but not in town, off a bit away, to just like a not modern, like a mid-sized, appropriate level home that like someone that could one day have a family would have a good space of family for. And it's just off the beaten path in the middle of the woods. Yeah, it's a good spot for when we didn't really want to be found.
It looks like you've sort of kept to your secluded self to an extent, but I'm glad to see that you have a place that you can call your own. So, I mean, with that, I'll let you lead. It's your house, so let's make our way in.
Yeah, and he walks up, and the door you can tell is a little off the frame because he has to like kind of like do that thing where you lift and push to get it to open, and same when you enter, like do like the whole like realign. So it's clearly not like the most maintained best thing in the world, but it's his house, and he's got a lot of like open space where like not really sure how to furnish a home. There are like the seats you need and tables you need, but like the walls don't have anything on them to like personalize it, and like the decor is like basic. It's not like things that have been picked to make it look homely. It's just like what he's been able to assemble to make a house for himself.
Understood. So with that, I'm assuming, is it dark in there when we come in? I'm assuming he's not been home.
Yeah. You'd have to light up a few candles before anything, but yeah, it's dark in there.
Yeah, I'll sort of like help him, let him get whatever he would like to ready. I'll start lighting some candles and stuff, get a fire going, and the little fireplace that I'm sure is there to keep the house warm.
Yep. Yeah.
And then while I'm doing that, what is he up to at this point?
If you're getting the fire going, he's like making a dinner of sorts. It's like chunks of meat and cheese and bread. Like, if we sliced it up a little bit better, it would be a charcuterie board, but it's not at all sliced up in any way. It's literally like hunks of cheese pulled off of a brick, hunk of meat pulled off of a sausage or some sort. And it's like, got food if you want it.
Sure, sounds great. And following, like, getting, like, just sort of some lights in the room, I'll make my way to the table and just sort of seeing the state of the dinner, being like, well, I'm glad to see the town has changed, but I'm glad to see your inability to cook food has not changed. And just sort of genuinely, like, just poke fun, but enjoy the meal with them for a little bit. Do you have a drink by chance? It's been a bit of a day.
Oh, you come in and you want everything. And also, speaking of food skills, I hope yours have improved, if anything.
They have not. They had, like, instantly, he's jumping in and be like, no, they've actually, unbelievably, potentially gotten worse. Like, I made food for my friends the other day, and they said it was good, and I really think it could have killed them if they ate all of it.
So you're just actively trying to poison people now is your plan?
Just sly smirk comes across Cass's face, be like, well, I mean,
Yeah,
we have
gets,
experience in doing that before, so I'm not sure if that's where you're going here.
A low-level bottle of wine out for you all. Like, it's something to drink. It's not gonna be, like, the best thing, but it's what he has. And he's like, well, yeah, poison's easy. Poisoning your friends isn't, but it can be done. Hope that's not what you're aiming to do when you cook.
No, I wish it was. It'd be a nice excuse, but unfortunately, of all the things I've learned over the past couple years, cooking is not one of them still.
what have you been up to the past couple? I know you got the letter. I know you made it to some fancy ass town. You served some bars, but like, what is it you've actually been doing?
And with that, just let out like a deep breath and be like, where to start? And with that, Cass is just gonna casually look up to the ceiling, just see like one hook hanging there, and he's gonna mage hand his lantern up from the back of his belt and just have it float up there and be like, well, some things have definitely changed since we've last talked. And with that, Cass will just sort of go through, explain the situation with not all the details of his lantern, but just be like, hey, like I can do shit is the gist of it. And then explain like, hey, like how he met Nori, how he met Frog, and just sort of go through the general stuff. He will leave out the direct names of Julian and Dion, though. He'll just say he met some influential patrons in the capital that he's sort of helping out with some items, but he won't name directly, and just sort of give some general details to stuff like that. And while he's doing this, Cass will take the time to look around the room and see if he sees any sign of anything tied to the family of Iron still.
Yeah. So yeah, a couple things throughout there. Like he's paying attention, very much listening, but also like laughs a lot. Like especially when you're like, yeah, I can do some things now. You say having done after you magically levitated a lantern up to a hook on the ceiling. Like, well, yeah, no shit, you can do things now. Like that was a precursor there. That kind of gave that away, and just sassing you throughout your entire conversation. In terms of things still related, there's like a spot on the mantle that is like too clean that you know probably has a brick that can be moved in and out if needed. And you know you all had like a couple of daggers that would fit perfectly in a brick behind a wall. Doesn't like the dust is clearly settling, so it doesn't look like it's been got to recently. But you have a feeling that if you were to like check there, you'd probably find some sort of memorabilia about it. Whether it's been used or whether it's just been pondered over, you'd have no idea. And if it's whether even if it's still there, you'd also have no idea.
Yeah, and trust and just sort of implicitly trusting Beirut just as someone he's known his whole life. He's not going to push deeper on that. Just it was more curiosity looking around the room, seeing like, hey, like, are we truly done with this type situation? Mm-hmm. But following that explanation, Cass will get a little bit more serious and be like, so tell me about your dealings with Jody Latif, I believe is her name.
Eody.
Eody.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah, she's fine. I mean, I hear that her brother is also an appointed lordship somewhere, and it sounds like he sucks. She doesn't do anything really to hurt anyone. She kind of like showed up and went, I recognize that the system that I'm a part of has made things worse for all of you, and that's bad. And also, I come from a family that kind of revels in that a little bit, and that's bad. So, like, I want to help make things better was kind of the message she gave. And I think it was one of those things where, like, nobody listened to her back home because she actually has, like, genuinely good ideas, but seemed concerned to provide them until she saw that change was happening and people liked her ideas. And then she became a lot more confident in herself. So I don't know if it's partially because no one ever listened to her, or if it's because people may have made her predecessor die in his sleep, that she's a little nervous, but she's kind of growing into the role, and it's a lot of the kids are growing up not knowing what it's like to be not afraid of, but against the person that they are, and then largest air quotes in the world, protected by.
And that's the way the kids here should grow up. And just, again, having a more serious tone, Cass just sort of like looks down and be like, no one should have to grow up the way we did. Sort of having to scrounge to try to make ends meet every week, do things that, or be involved in things that kids shouldn't even be exposed to at that point in their lives. Like, this is how it should be. So if you trust her, then I trust her. I had the same feelings from, I met her at a function, let's say, in the capital, and I had the same feeling. She seemed innocent enough given her position.
Yeah, he got a 19 on his insight check there. He's gonna be like, the family had a lot of connections in the city, but you left them. So not only are you meeting up with influential people, but you're meeting up with the lordships. You want to say the city? You don't have to. I'm not going to press you. And like, it could just be that you had Miss Katonic do some shit, but I would imagine that she's not on everyone's side currently. But I mean, she worked with us in the past. But you wanna elaborate on who things are doing?
Is just clarifying, is he asking who I'm like sort of working with at this point, not Nori and Frog?
Not so much asking who you're working with, but going, you said influential people and then you threw a name around. But clearly the name you threw around is not the people you meant because you gave this name and not theirs. And so very like half playfully, half not playfully, trying to prod the part that he's recognized you're leaving out.
Gotcha. And with that, Cass will actually take a second and just not ignore it, but sit quietly and just see, does he hear anything outside? Like, is anyone else around the building? Like, I know we're sort of isolated, but would anyone would have follow us here?
Make a perception or investigation. If you want to send Quizzle outside, you can.
Yeah, actually, I will do that. Because Beirut would know Quizzle just because like it was like a childhood thing. So Beirut just sort of sees as a bright blue squirrel that now has no legs, just sort of like a little genie like poof at the bottom, pops up and makes his way to the roof. But I'll do you said perception or what'd you say?
Investigation, either one.
We'll do investigation. Okay, so that is a 12.
Yeah. There's nothing, like, no visible things are coming. Like, there's no, like, animals coming towards it. There's definitely no people with lanterns or torches coming this way. There might be some things that are, like, either veiled or parts of the forest that just aren't easy to spot, but nothing, like, of the intent of someone following you is here.
Okay. And, like, sort of seeing that the coast is clear, Castle bring his attention back to the conversation and just tell him, people in power at this point in time have been interested in our help. And before you ask, I don't know how I got dragged into this. I'm not the person to want to get dragged into this, but somehow I did. So I'm doing my best to help. That being said,
like you dragged your squirrel into some weird shit.
yeah, he's blue now. Trust me, I'm still trying to figure out all of this
You're
stuff.
focused more on the blue than the floating leg thing? That's what caught my attention. I assumed the blue was because he died and then you brought him back or something, but the floating legs, that was new.
Yeah, there's a lot that I'm still not even fully understanding. And with that, we'll just sort of Castle be like, we'll get back to that though. But like I said, I'm helping the family in power, let's say, at this point in time, and just sort of make eye contact with them, seeing like, are you picking up what I'm putting down, or do I need to exactly say it out loud for you?
Let's see. He got a 4. but he's also like he's not trying to press you. It's like you see like that in his eyes. He doesn't fully pick it up, but he's not upset that he doesn't pick it up.
Okay. And I'm gonna leave it at that and just be like, just for your peace of mind, let's just leave it at that. Like, I'm not hiding anything from you, but I also don't want to put you or potentially here in danger by knowing things that could bring people here, let's say. So that being said, yeah, I've been around a lot, and from this conversation, like, yes, it has been a while, but Barut would notice that, like, Cass is talking more now than he ever used to, more or less because, like, this is the first time he's really been able to talk to somebody he knows in years. Like, yes, he was friends with the bar owner in the first town that he was at, but, like, this has been first time he's been able to catch up with someone he doesn't know. And from there, I mean, Cassius sort of will continue to explain his story a little bit, what's been going on, give some details, but then we'll sort of like throw the ball back in his court and be like, so what are you doing now? Like, I know you said you're sort of playing bodyguard, and he'll do some big air quotes as he says this. But what do you want to do with the rest of our time here? Like, with you, and Castle will shoot a little like coy glance at that brick. With you being out of our old associations, like, what do you want out of life?
Yeah, as he follows your eye, will be like, it's just a well-weighted blade that's fun to flip. Nothing else. And I don't know. It's been... I didn't really think there was an out. And then you left. And then you weren't reported as being dead on the side of the road. So then I kind of went, huh. That's an option. And now I'm not dead on the side of the road. And then each day kind of keeps working. And I've yet to kind of figure out the next part. Because I'm just starting to get to the current part is working.
And that's fair, and Castle raises a little cup filled with low quality wine that is still appreciated and be like, here's to not being dead on the side of the road. But sort of after that, just take like a little drink and be like, as your friend, I would suggest you put some thought into it. Keep your eyes open as you do, because I don't think we'll ever, and he'll emphasis we, will ever be truly free of the situation and associations we tied ourselves to. But don't put your life on hold for that at this point. We're not old, but we're getting older. And you deserve to have a life as much as I deserve to have a life. You probably more so, with your muscles and such, but that's not the point.
And then, while this conversation is going on, we'll transition over to Frog. You found a nice area where your mom could have died, because you're kind of piecing it together from your memory and the current thing, and where that lightning bolt would have gone straight through her, stopping through her into you. You find it.
Yeah. Frog is gonna be a little bit more anxious and freaked out and sad. All of the emotions at once, but still doing a little bit better than she would be because of the drugs. And let Victorina and show her, where exactly it happened, and ask her, what do we do next?
Yeah, well, based on the assessment of the area around here, clearly there was no actual fire that started. Like, there's no point of origin, there's no, it was a continuous heat at one fire level. That's not how fire works. Fire works in that if it starts, it grows, and then spreads and grows further, and spreads and grows further. This is very clearly magical fire that was kind of everywhere all at once. Is that what you're thinking?
Yes.
Yeah, because the water levels might hide it, but as as you know, I can kind of. Fire has a memory and the way it consumes things, and it's very ready to tell the story of how it won out. And this is not a fire that was birthed, so that whatever that means to you, have it to know. If you want to commune, um, how are you at trancing? I do most of my things through nature. You seem to do most of yours through study. So we are at a little bit of an impasse between us, but how how are you at focusing your mind?
Um, okay. I
Okay.
don't know.
It's better than bad.
Yeah.
Yeah. So sit down. Oh no, let's get you a chair. I don't want you sitting in this water. And like we'll like find just like we'll look around trying to find a chair. There are no chairs. We'll look around trying to find like anything, and then it's just going to like summon up like a rock just raised from the ground, like one of the cobblestones just raised up and gives you like a chair that you can sit on. Just hold your bracelet and think of your mom and try and make sure you only think of her and nothing else. Because if you think of other things, your mind will wander and other things will be allowed in.
Okay. Um, Fallen Frog is going to close her eyes and focus and think about um her mom and try to kind of just like remember exactly what she looks like, even though it's been a long time since she has seen her. She'll probably think of like a memory from when she was younger and like sitting at the table waiting for her mom to, finish making breakfast and bring it to her. So she's imagining what she looked like and, how she was before she died.
Yeah. Make a history check then.
Okay.
Or it could be insight if you want to like look into yourself for it.
Okay.
It's more like, are you trying to like remember the literal details of it would be history, or if you were trying to remember like your connection to the moment would be insight.
Okay. We'll do history.
Okay.
Or I got 15.
A 15. Okay. That's not that bad. It's not great in terms of trying to summon planar entities to you, but it also isn't the hardest thing because part of your mom is in you,
Right.
but also part of your mom is clearly not, because otherwise she would have come up when you tried to find her earlier. And so on a
Mhm.
15, you summon out that part that's in you. And like you come essentially face to face with like a half-formed version of you 20 years older, having like enough time to relax and raise a family, but also like still like kind of like worn out because not that the rise was that involved in any of the conflict, but like they stayed out of it and they were fine. But they also, because they stayed out of it, were very reliant on themselves for like growth and production and everything. So heavily worked.
Mhm.
And you see your mom floating in front of you, and when she tries to talk, nothing comes out.
Okay. Looking at her, seeing that she's like only half formed, Frog would like to close her eyes and try to like remember even more, being like, I know that this is not exactly right. This is not what you looked like, and she'll try to think of a different memory. Is that something
Okay.
I can do?
Yeah, for sure. Go
Okay.
ahead and try it again, but now since you're specifically looking in your mind for it, do insight.
Insight. Okay. 17.
17, nice. Yeah, you like find that like image of your mom in your mind, the one that you know would be right. But
Mhm.
you also then like feel like a magical gate blocking. Very much like the same magic essence as like where you're in the same area. It seems to be like that where the literal spot she died seems to be like blocking her from fully coming back. because half of it is in the town and half of it is in you, and there's like her soul seems to be ripped between the two. So unless you can find something here to help, you have a feeling that you're not going to fully get her.
Okay. Frog will ask for advice from Victorina and see if there's anything that she can do to help other than, I don't know, like if we can find something else that was hers to bring her closer.
Yeah, we can try that. Necromancy's not my
Yeah.
school, nor is divination. I kind of set things on fire and heal things through fire. So if that's part of the problem, we could try and heal the spirit. But in terms of like knowing tethers, that's not really any of our thing, but it's really not my thing.
Okay. Shall we try to heal the spirit?
Sure, we can do that.
Okay.
Um, do you like? Can I like just like this is gonna sound a lot worse than it is. Can I just like try and set your mom on fire and see if it works? Or like do you have like restrictions and restraints about that?
We can try that. I think that seems like our only option right now.
Okay. Cool. Then let's try that and see if it works. And you see that like first she like raises a pedestal underneath where your mom is floating, because she can't summon a ring of fire in the middle of the water. She's rather annoyed about the fact that the town you have chosen to go to is flooded. But that's not her thing. She centers like you see like a little ball of like fire grow underneath and then like spreads out to a very large like 60-foot plinth. So this is covering a lot of area and just like heat start rises from it, but not like any sort of heat that's going to like hurt anyone. But it feels like the heat of someone that's like you're freezing to death and this is what's going to warm you back up. And just a whole area surges back up. And part of it, you see your mom start to form. The other part is you see a bunch of other ghosts appear in here and rush towards it. And she's like, "Oh, should I keep going or do we want to stop?"
Stopping is probably a good idea.
I'm not sure I've got anything else that'll work.
Okay. Then let's just keep going. We'll see what happens.
Okay, cool. And she will finish the spell, and I'll let you roll. Roll a d6 for me.
One?
One ghost makes it through and fully forms itself.
Okay, that's good.
Yeah. This was a time where it was good to roll a 1.
Yeah, I was
Nice.
scared.
Yeah. Yeah, the ghost floats in and like is very much unwelcome. Like the spell seems to have been trying to repel them, but it has made it in and it's going for you as the clear tether to the point right now.
Okay.
And it is gonna attack you. And I'd like you to roll initiative, please.
Okie dokie.
That's going to hit because I know your armor class is lower than a 24.
17 is 19. I forgot to add my initiative bonus.
Okay. So that's gonna be 8 and 3. 19, no, 21 points of necrotic damage as a ghost gets to the field and just kind of like tries to like pull part of you into itself, to get its life back. Essentially, like it feels the like reawakening aura of this place and wants to try and claim it for itself. And you said you got a 19. Cool.
Yes.
Then you are up first. The goal here is that if you can get it away, that's perfectly fine. If Victorina has to get away, that's perfectly fine. But if Victorina has to get away and loses concentration on the spell she's trying to hold to keep your mother coming back, you're going to lose your mom. So it's going to be a mix of relying on you so that she doesn't fall down. What do you do?
I will use Firebolt.
Okay, cool.
And let's see here. 17.
That will hit.
9 damage.
Nice. And you see that normally that wouldn't do much to the ghost, but the emboldening flame growing around you sears your firebolt to be a lot stronger, and it's able to get in.
Okay.
Victorina is mostly concentrating on this, so she can't do much, but she'll also just try and firebolt it. She misses, even with her attack bonus. She rolled tremendously low, but she's also trying to keep this thing going, and I think Ghost has seen that she's the one doing this all. Like, you might be the one that brought the ghost field awareness. You're not the one bringing them back. So it's going to try and attack you. Can you make me a charisma saving throw, please?
18.
18, very nice. What does it look like? It is up to you to describe this to me. I'm not telling you how to describe it. It's your description. As this ghost tries to, take the rip in you it's already made to crawl into your body and possess you, and you push it off.
Oh, that's spooky. I imagine that it's just coming crawling and hands grabbing at the hole in me. And then I will just be fighting it back and pushing it away. And then finally I get enough strength and then throw it on the ground.
Yeah, while you throw it on the ground, we're going to move over to Nori.
Okay.
Having an idyllic life in a dream where her brother never died and she and her husband never left each other. Just having a vibe.
So Nori in this dreamscape, as Nori, I will go up to my brother and ask him how life has been with his wife. It's just felt like a little while since we've had a good catch up.
Yeah, I mean, we live together, so I see you every day, but yeah, we can have a catch up if you want. I mean, it's been good. We have everything we kind of need. I don't what are you asking? What are you asking? We live together. You know what I do every day.
Yeah, it just feels like I've been in this daze for a while and I need something to help ground me a little bit. So I figured talking to you would kind of help. I feel like I woke up on the wrong side of the bed in a way.
Okay, well, what's the last thing you remember then? Or what's the last time you felt decent? If it's been a while, why haven't you told us you've been feeling weird for a while?
I don't know if I can actually tell you because I don't remember.
Okay, well, that's fucked up. And you haven't told Apollo about that?
No,
dude's
it's
not
one
my
of
best
those.
friend if he's not letting me know that my sister's maybe dying.
I don't think I'm maybe dying. I think life has just been a lot lately. And no, I haven't told Apollo, so yeah, just why don't you tell me how you've
beat
been?
His ass. If
Okay.
he didn't tell you, I would go beat his ass.
Okay. I'm so glad that you go beat his ass. So, but anyway, why don't you just tell me about how you've been, and that will help me feel better.
And I've been good. We're all in our grove together. We enjoy living together. Our whittling's going good. The water is clean. And we don't need to deal with the humans anymore. We have everything we need, and things are good. I don't feel better having to tell you that, because I feel like that's stuff you should know, and I'm still on the whole, you're blacking out and not telling anyone about that. So if that's what you needed, great. But I would like to bring the conversation back to you don't remember anything. But feel free to keep asking me about how our day's going.
Well, I'm fine. Everything is fine. Just ignore the little fire behind me. Just kidding. Anyway. Oh man, where did my brain go? It went somewhere. Wow. Okay, hold on.
That
I'm getting
sounds
it back.
Uh-huh.
No, it literally went somewhere. Where did it go? And Nori's just gonna be like, oh man, having a hard time trying to keep that tether to reality versus trying to be in this moment and knowing that it will most likely fleet very quickly, since she's in a dream, but like it also feels real. So having that balancing act in her brain, she's going. I will cast. I'll just cast a guiding bolt, but like over in towards the forest where like it hopefully won't hit anything, I guess at the ground. And I'll just be like, surprise! Not trying to hit him or anything.
Yeah. You yell surprise, he's like, the fuck was that? You're not able to do that.
Huh. Right. Uh-huh.
Did you go tell people shit you weren't supposed to and made Fey deals and you forgot? Or like, what's going on here?
No, I haven't made any Fey deals. I just felt like surprising you with, and I'll pull out a little figurine that I made, because it's my dream and that can happen. And be like, surprise! I made this for you!
Thanks. Are you okay, Nori?
I'm gonna go get some water, and I'm gonna walk away from Riker.
Okay. And as you leave him, where are you headed towards?
I will head towards the closest body of water to where I'm at, whether that be the river, or if that's like a little lake that's close to us, or a little pond or stream, whatever that would be, I would head towards just a body of water.
Yeah, there are, like, because of the fact that it's, like, a family of water fae and then 2 wood fae, like, you are at, like, the intersection of where, like, it's an island that has very lots of trees, but then it's surrounded by, like, a river that parted on the sides. So any direction you head, you're not that far from a body of water.
I will head north then and go to whatever point that is gonna be by water.
Yeah. If you head north, you'd get up there and you'd find like Apollo just chopping down trees and stuff. And he'll look at you and be like, weren't you planning to just like talk with your brother all day? Like, I think the water's clean. We can go fishing if you want.
Oh, hi. I'm just taking a couple moments to myself. It's been a weird morning, day, whatever time of day it is. So I'm gonna go to the water and meditate.
Okay, you need anything?
No, thanks for asking. Have fun chopping more wood.
Thanks, I think. Did I do something? Like, this is not the energy you had when I left this morning.
No, you are perfect. I love you so much, and I'm just gonna go meditate. I'll see you later. And Nori will I'll quickly scurry off to some.
Love you too. Have fun.
Yeah, I'll just scurry off and try and find somewhere private to meditate or sit down.
Yeah. You're able to find, you can easily get away enough from him that it's like a private area.
Okay. When I look down at my hands, do I see the ring that will conjure Barbara?
You do, yeah.
Okay. I'm going to tap the ring and try and have Barbara appear.
Yeah. And Barbara just like appears, a happy little plesiosaurus splashing around in the water.
I'm gonna let Barbara just hang out. And then I am going to try and decipher any way that I can jump back into current reality from where I am at, more embedded in this dreamscape.
Yeah, make an insight check at disadvantage, because you've spent a lot of time with a lot of people, and the more you do things in the dream, the harder it's going to be to get out of it. So insight at disadvantage.
Okay. Okay, still had 2 decent rolls, dirty 20 at disadvantage.
Okay, beautiful. Yeah, you like look down and you see that like, well, you have your ring and Barbara's splashing and everything feels wrongly right. You look down and in the water, like you don't have a reflection back up of you. Like there's just parts that clearly aren't there because if it was a full dream, your mind wouldn't be focusing on them. And you know that part of it is that like clearly like you're not all here. And it might only be in the water that you can spot it, or it might be other places, but that might be a way out.
Like the water would be a way out?
Could be, because the water is clearly like lacking your reflection, so it's something about the dream is missing there.
Okay. Using that same conclusion in terms of the reality isn't full with my reflection in the water, I will try and look around me to see if I can also find any similar discrepancies, so to speak.
Yeah. Make a perception check.
Just a general perception check?
As
Like not at
opposed to-
disadvantage?
Just general.
Okay. Nat 20, so 27.
Yeah, it's like whenever your eye's not fixed somewhere, and then like you move it, you can tell like as you move, everything that you move your eye towards takes like just an extra millisecond to like form into shapes. Kind of like whatever you're not actively looking at doesn't exist around you. And so those spots that like aren't here, like a stream's a really big thing because it has to be constantly existing whether you're looking at it or not because of the sound. That's a lot harder to maintain as a real thing versus like a tree that when you look at the tree it's there, and then when you look away the energy can go elsewhere.
Okay. Having been able to tell that the longer I stay here, the more difficult it's going to be to get out, and knowing I'm by myself aside from lovely plesiosaurus Barbara, I'm going to try and go into the water and see if I can swim my way out.
Okay.
Or float my way out.
So are you letting like the river take you, or are you just like trying to like swim down into it?
I'll first try and swim down into it.
Okay, cool. Make me a charisma saving throw at disadvantage.
In this realm, can I also guide myself, or would I sense that it wouldn't work?
You have all your magic and everything.
But my guiding bolt didn't work.
No, it worked. It's just that in this timeline, you never had a reason to become a cleric, so nobody in your family thinks that you should have this magic.
Oh. Okay, so...
It's not that it didn't work, it's that you said, hey, surprise, and then threw radiant fire at a tree, and your brother went, yo, what's that?
A 16 at disadvantage.
Okay, you feel yourself getting down and like finding the way out, and then your brother's like hand grabs you and like pulls you back up. He's like, silly water fae can't drown. Are you looking for something? Like, you were under there for like 10 minutes. What are you trying to do?
I need to get more connected with nature, so I am going to go for a swim, and I will try and jump into the water and dive down again.
Okay. Yeah, he's gonna dive with you. Like,
Okay.
he's trailing with you to the point that like you wouldn't be able to get a moment to find that escape again.
Okay. I will climb back up or dive back up, whatever. And then look at my brother and say, I need 10 minutes alone by myself. I love you very much, but kindly leave me alone. And yeah, and that's it.
Okay. Yeah, and he's like, okay. Pretty sure Apollo's over there. I'll go hang out with him. And he walks off, and you can just like hear as he's like getting up, like, yo, sis is weird today. Does she have a vibe? Did something happen between the two of you? And then Apollo's like, I don't think so. When I left this morning, she was typical Nori, and now she's acting like I did something wrong, which maybe I did, but I don't think I did.
Okay. I am then going to cast Enhance Ability, which is a 2nd level spell.
Yep.
And give myself Eagle's Splendor. So take my disadvantaged charisma checks and make it just a normal roll. And try and find a point where I am as hidden as possible. So of course try and be a little stealthy about it so I can dive into the water again and try and get out.
Yeah. Yeah, you definitely have that. The other things, what's happening with Barbara as she just plays around in Dreamwater? Is she staying a plesiosaur or is she changing in some way?
Knowing that a plesiosaurus maybe can't dive down as well, I will try and conjure her or shape her into a water elemental so she can kind of like become one with the river, and then like maybe propel me forward while diving down to try and find my way out.
Yeah. And you do that. And can you make me that charisma save one more time? Just at flat.
So this is yep, okay. I can't cast guidance because it's concentration.
Yep.
14.
Yeah. So you're trying and it's just getting harder and harder, and part of your mind thinks back to the dream that you requested. You didn't ask for a dream about escapism. You asked for a dream in which you never lost your brother and you guys could spend your time together. And you have a feeling that while you could find a way to get out the back door, addressing what you actually wanted to think about will be a lot easier than anything else.
Okay. With that insight, I will recall Barbara into my ring, and I will head back to where Apollo and Riker are.
Yeah. And yeah, Barbara hops back in, still as a water elemental. You're not sure if that'll carry over when you leave the dream world or not, but right now Barbara's still a water elemental. And yeah, you get over, and you hear them still talking about you. Like they've changed conversation topics, then came back to it, like that how this conversation cycles. As they see you walking up, they kind of cut it off and like, hey, how you doing? How was your 10 minutes sitting alone without anybody?
It was lovely and so needed. Thank you very much. Riker, will you walk with me as we go back to the house? And I'll see you later, Apollo. Sorry for being weird earlier.
Yeah, I mean, that's fine, but what did I do?
You fundamentally did nothing. I just needed some time. And sometimes that happens. And I just woke up on the wrong side of the bed, and now I'm on the right side. So, no worries at all.
As long as it's. Do you just want me to get you a bouquet on the way home? Like, do you just want some apology flowers?
Sure. Why don't you do that just in case?
Okay. Again, that's not reassuring, but at least I have a point to move forward from. And Rykard will come up to you and walk back with you.
So I know it in the dreamscape, yes, Riker didn't pass from or didn't die from the war, but he still went to war and came back. Okay. I'll ask him. I know this might be a sensitive topic still, but would you be willing to tell me more about your time in the war? I know you've probably recounted it to me a million times, but can you just tell me again?
Yeah, I mean, we were all kind of set up for it to be like the last night of it all. Everyone kind of like knew that like the next day the battle would happen, and like, but then for some reason, like the commanding officers said that Dad and I were done. They're like, "Yep, your contract's up," and we got sent back home, and then the next day was the end of the war.
Well, that's shocking. Did you guys ever find out why? Like, literally, your contracts just happened to end before the last day of the war?
I mean, you're asking with a lot of questions like you didn't know this for the past 150 or whatever years. And yeah, we always thought it was weird, but like maybe it was just that like maybe it was, or maybe like because it's supposed to be like an easy fight. They probably just didn't need all of us, and they're like, well, if we don't need people, we're just not gonna have people.
Sure. And so the outcome of the war is that there's been peace, and we haven't had to worry about humans a ton, and
Yeah,
we've been
like
kind of left alone.
that fight ended up like not really needing to be happening because like some human did something over a couple miles and caused a lot of problems, and people went, oh yeah, war is bad, and then we were like, well, they do kind of suck, so we're back in the Feywild and we've grown up here, and you're asking a lot of questions.
You just have to roll with the questions today, okay? Gosh.
I am learning that, but I don't know why I'm rolling with the questions.
Well, because you're my brother and you have to love unconditionally, so you get to deal with this Nori today, who's like still on the right side of the bed, but like still a little bit off. So, you know, it's fine.
Okay.
Would you go and make some figurines for me? Or with me? Sorry.
Sure. We can go make figurines, yeah.
So I'll just go and spend time with Riker doing something that he hopefully loves, I would assume, since this is his job. And just chat with him about our childhood memories and anything, and ask him questions of like, what's his favorite memory from his wedding and with his wife, and does he have any regrets? Does he have any feelings about humans that are different because of the war? Does he still feel the same? And all those different things.
And you're getting answers to all of them, and with each answer, it starts to feel like more real, and you start to understand this place more, and it feels a lot more like a spot you could stay, because like now you're becoming part of the family here.
Okay. Do I still have the tie to that this is a dream?
You still know it, but like it's getting like pushed further and further from your mind as this place is starting to, as you start to learn more and more about it.
Okay. Well, after our conversation, I think I will excuse myself.
Mhm.
What time of day would it be?
It's done that weird thing where like it's just whatever time it needed to be for each scene to feel right.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm going to see if I can will it to be nighttime.
Yeah, easy to happen.
And then I am going to try and go to bed in a stealthy way, in the sense that like going around Apollo and hopefully not giving him any increasing suspicion that something is up or weird, and that I just want to go to bed early.
Yeah. Yeah, and go ahead and make a wisdom save real quick.
Normal wisdom save.
Yep.
Okay. I would assume that my enhance ability is now not.
It lasts 8 hours.
Oh. It says up to 1.
Oh, does it? Okay, then
Yeah.
yeah. It would have faded, yeah.
And I will guide myself. Just on the off chance. 17 plus 20. 24.
Yeah. A nap could help, but that's also going to be a lot more time spent here, and you'd essentially be offering up the chance to have a dream within a dream, which would maybe pull you in further. That part
Nori's
of
going to think to
guiding you
herself.
out is like... Go ahead.
Nori will think to herself, motherfucker. Ah! And then shake herself awake and ask Apollo if he wants to go for a nighttime swim.
Sure. Is there something you just need today?
I need to feel more grounded and know that there's a way out. I love living here, but sometimes I just need a little bit of escapism.
Okay, but that's what, like, your trip... We can just take a trip back to the human grove if you want.
I mean, fair, but also don't we not like the humans? That's what, like, I keep gathering from everyone, but I have this, like...
I mean, it's not that we don't like them, it's just that, like, they suck, and we don't really... Like, they don't need us as much, because we're here. Like, it's not like we've ever had, like, an extended relationship with them that allows them to do things since the war ended. Like, your family... Someone's taking care of the river now, and your family's here. Like, we go on vacation there every once in a while, but it's not like we owe them anything.
Well, why don't we take a trip there? That sounds great.
Okay. Do you want your brother to come? Or is it just us?
I think Riker should come.
Okay. Yeah, and you guys go and grab him. And you take a trip to, like, what you would know as, like, one of your Fey teleportation circles and everything. And only you see, everyone else sees, like, around the same thing. You see, like, yourself floating outside of this place. Like, very much in Kilana's house dimension thing. Of you just, like, passed out sleeping there. But, like, we can go to the human world if you want.
Would I know of any way for myself to, like, will myself back into consciousness, if that makes any sense?
I mean, the typical ways of waking up from a dream, someone hurting you, you hurting someone, some sort of problem happening, something to scare you out of it.
Could I hurt myself in the dream?
You could try, yeah.
Oh, okay. Oh, man. I will go up to Apollo and say, I love you, and I'm going to push him into the transportation circle.
Okay.
And then I will also give Riker the biggest hug and say, I love you as well. Thank you so much for dealing with all of my antics today. Push him into the circle. And then take my hand axe and slash my leg.
Yeah. Yeah. And as Apollo's pushed through, he doesn't really have anything to say because he wasn't expecting it. But Riker's like, what? Why would... Okay, that's... And then, like, you give him a hug and then you throw him. He's like, okay, I guess I'll see you on the other side. Have fun with whatever this is. Talk to you in a minute, I guess. And then, like, you get thrown in. And then you slash your leg and you wake up.
Okay.
You don't know how long it's been, but you know it's been much longer than it appeared in the dream. But we're going to go back to Frog. He's being attacked by a ghost. But it's Frog's turn.
Yay. Ghost time.
Yay. Ghost time.
It's my turn again?
It is your turn. Yep, you were at the top of the initiative.
Okay, we are going to continue Firebolt.
Okay.
Let's see what I roll this time. Ooh, nat 20.
Nice. Yeah.
And
Go
then
ahead. So what is the
damage.
max damage it can do, and then add that on top?
Okay, 35 damage.
Nice. So what does it look like after you just pulled a ghost out of you? That with the firepower around you, you get oof, enough emphasis on the flame to burn this ghost away from you and kill it.
After shoving it on the ground, Frog will raise her hands and throw the firebolt at this poor ghost man who's just trying to live, and see him vanish. And although she knew she had to do it, she's a little bit upset about it because she knows that very easily could have been her mother.
Yeah. Yeah, and you just see this soul not retreat but just burn up and appear to be gone. And yeah, Victorina is able to focus more, and you just see parts of your mom restoring, the face relaxes. She kind of straightens herself up, and it's gonna take a little bit. But Victorina looks to you and is is there a reason you only rely on small, dependable things? You're clearly a trained arcanist in your own way, but you instead chose to 2 times in a row do something that could very easily let it take you out and not do anything big. Do you have a complex about that or something?
Not necessarily, but I knew that it was a little bit enhanced because of the fire area that we are in right now with everything you've got going on, and I decided that that was what I was going to do.
Okay, I mean that's fine, but just general advice. If you're in danger in the future, go big first. Go small
Perhaps.
when you're tired, because otherwise you won't get a chance to go big.
That's true.
Then, we'll turn and be like, your mom's ready. And you see, just a fully formed mom ghost over there.
Okay. Frog will take a second and just kind of take it in because this is the first time she's seeing her mom, not necessarily in the flesh, but not in Miss Katonic's scary void, in a very long time. And the last time she saw her was rather traumatic, as we all know. So she'll take a moment to just look at her and be like, wow, she's really there. And then she'll head over a little bit closer to her and be like, Mom, is it actually you?
Jenna, it's been so good. I've been seeing you do your thing, but now I get to see you. And you're not.
Okay.
I'm not in your brain.
You're not in my brain. No, not this time. Have you been in my brain?
The part of me that you carried with you has been.
Okay. Well, that's kind of comforting to have you there, though. But I do want you to be whole again, so I'm happy that you are free for now.
Yeah, and what 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 do you need from me? Because I don't know if I'm gonna be able to go back in, or if
Yeah.
I'm gonna stay out. So, it's good to see. I don't know, and looks over at Victorina. I'm not sure how much time we have. I want to make sure it's of use to you if I'm gonna lose you.
Oh, that's sad. Okay. After hearing that, Frog was like, just being able to see you is helping a lot. And then she will ask her if what she knows about what exactly happened to Mary's rise from the people's perspective that were not on the same side as Cassiopeia, from the actual village's perspective.
Yeah, well, we're kind of far away from everything, so we never really got involved in any of the withering, and no one really. We weren't a port. I mean, we're a port town because we're on the ocean, but we're not a port that people stop at, and we weren't really anyone that. We didn't really matter. We were just kind of here, and so no one gave us a lot, and we didn't need to give a lot, and some people went off to join the cause, but most people kind of stayed to their own, and it worked, and we weathered well, and we thought we would just stay that way. But then the now king formed the peace contracts, and the lords claimed their lands, and the church needed to have a united front of everyone believing in the world together to have their story make sense. And we told the church, that's fine. We'll believe in peace, but we don't believe in you all. We want to be on our own. And they said, no, that's not going to work. And we're not sure if they ever actually got royal decree or not, but they came one day telling us that the crown has said we must join or leave, but we said, no, we're not going to do that, and they said fine, and then that night, everything went up. And then we're here.
Okay, so Frog taking that all in is going to definitely make a note of the fact that they said the crown said that. I mean, I knowing that, like, Dion wasn't the leader back then, but, like, knowing that she may be able to talk to him about that and figure out what exactly happened, and if Cassiopeia did this rightfully. I mean, not that there is a right way to do this, but, you know. And then she'll respond and be like, well, thank you for sharing that with me. Do you know how many people were lost during this from our village? Like, assuming she's been half ghost here, half ghost with me, like, does she know how many people are currently stuck here?
At least 100 or so. Very few got out because before anything went up, they made sure to wrap the town in a wall of fire. And I'm not really sure how your father got through it with you, and the other kids, but clearly somehow. But most people that had the instinct to run ran straight into a wall and got incinerated.
Okie dokie. Okay. Frog is continued to just be like traumatic response here and like not knowing what to do. We'll kind of look towards Victorina and be like, I don't really know what to do. Like, can we send her so that she will move on, or like, how does this work?
Yeah. Yeah, I think if you want, as long as she feels okay with it, we can do that.
Okay. Is there anything we can do
Also-
to help the others here, or will they just attack us if we...
I mean, if we can get them to be in a state like this, where if we can find an object for each of them and invite them one by one, we can find out what they need and help them move through it. But if we're just opening it up, I imagine they'll be aggressive, and then the only way to really send them off is
Yes.
what you did to that
Okay.
one already. But also, it wasn't me, just so in case it's in your mind. I had no part. They're saying a lot of fire. It was not mine.
Yes, I believe that. I just want to do whatever I can to help them. Okay, so Frog will give a heartfelt goodbye to her mother. I'm assuming I cannot physically touch her because she is a ghost, but
You can interact with them. They
You
have
can.
they have mass. They just don't have like momentum and matter and stuff.
okay. So then she will attempt a hug of some kind and be like, thank you for all you've done for us, and we miss you, and I'm glad that you will be able to move on from this, even though I will miss feeling like you are a part of me. But then she'll hold up her little bracelet and be like, I still have this. and you will not be forgotten.
Yeah, and you like feel like just like a hug of wind as like she puts her arms around you, and then when you say she won't be forgotten, like I know, and we'll make it work, and take as long as you can before I see you the next time, okay? And then just with like a gust of wind, you just feel like mist evaporating, and your mom's not there anymore. Your head, for the first time in almost your entire life, feels a lot cleaner.
Yeah. Wow. Okay. Frog will just sit down on the ground and start crying.
And we'll move to Cass.
So what time of the day? I mean, what time of the evening is it at this point?
Yeah, it would have been like at this point after the dinner and everything, it'll be about like 8:39.
Okay. Sort of seeing that the time's getting late. And for the most part, like, we have caught up with what has gone on, like, with the respect of, like, we're not going to go into every detail about this. It's just the mutual understanding of, like, hey, like, you have your shit, I have mine, but I trust you regardless, type thing. Castle asks for one more pour of the wine, sort of seeing that it's pretty much empty, not wanting to be that guest that leaves, like, the 2 drinks in there and be weird about it. So we'll take the last little bit of wine and get up, and we'll go outside, and we'll just sort of look at Beirut and like do a motion like up to the roof. And we'll just go up to the roof and help him get up, knowing full well he does not need help getting up. But I'm still gonna do it just to feel better about myself. And as we're up there, just sort of look at him and be like, the town really isn't what it used to be. It's definitely going in the right direction, and whether or not you want the acknowledgement or not, like, you're playing a role in this. So that being said, just following tomorrow, I don't know how much longer I'll be here, but just make sure that we have a chance to catch up one more time before I leave. I have something I want to give to you and trust you implicitly with. So just want to make sure I have a chance to give it to you.
Yeah, I'll show up tomorrow. Maybe a little earlier in the day, because clearly you need someone that can lift big, heavy rocks for you.
Yeah, I
After
forgot
relying
how...
on children to do most of it, but...
Oh, I forgot how strong and reliable you are, just flipping your dagger and fixing the town all day. Yes, I understand. Thank you.
I'll be there, and whatever it is you want to give me, you can give me.
And
But I think if we're going to be up at 5 a.m. in the morning, we should not be up until 3 in the morning as well.
yeah, you're probably right. We are not the young spring chickens we used to be, unfortunately. But just wanted to thank you again. It was nice catching up, and it's hard to open up to people as much as I would like to at this point. But just know that I'm glad that you are free of your previous commitments, and I'm glad you're keeping an eye over the town. And with that, like, Castle just sort of put his hand like on his shoulder and just sort of jump off the roof, just getting back down to the ground floor. You'll see Quizzle just sort of float very, very like slowly behind him. And with that, Castle just sort of give him a nod and sort of make his way back, sort of getting back to the cabin, not in a rush, but he'll take like the scenic route. Before he leaves, he'll be like, have a good night, and thank you again for the hospitality. It is greatly appreciated. And with that, then he'd make his departure, give him a wave, and take the scenic route back to his house. Like, he'd go through the town. It's not super late, so just sort of see, like, how it's all laid out, who's where, like, become familiar with it again, reminisce about the old times. And on his way back, he'll again see the graveyard, knowing that he needs to again address that elephant in the room, but knows that it's not really the time to do it yet, and just makes note of it in his head, and then he'll make his way back to town, back to his house.
Nice. Yeah, you get to your house, and Archimedes is still passed out in a bucket, and you're able to do whatever things you want to do before you call it a night, to get it going before you
And-
all do things next morning.
Yeah, and just Cass, not being the biggest fan of Archimedes, just not that he's just more frustrated by him at points. We will pick up the bucket and like put it like into one of the rooms so he can actually like sleep quietly. Just sort of like shut the door behind him, and he will probably spend the next, it's probably about like 10 o'clock, I would assume at this point, probably spend the next like hour or two just getting doing prestidigitation and cleaning up the rest of the main room. Like there's still going to be rooms that need to get fixed, and this doesn't obviously fix anything that's broken, but at least cleans off the stuff that's just dusty. And following that will just get himself ready for bed and then fall asleep, sort of wondering to himself what the other two are doing, because we never really discuss like, are they coming back today or not. So just sort of pondering that as he just relaxes in his room and then just falls asleep.
Yeah. And I don't think they do come back that night. I think the next morning you wake up and they're still not there. What is it you do? Knowing that you have they know now like that they're going to be starting an early morning crew since everything's there, and then since they know it's happening. So you wake up at not before the sun, but as the sun's waking up, with a group of people already kind of showing up with food and with snacks and with drinks, and more people that were there yesterday, because now people are aware that they need that there's someone that needs help, and you wake up to a town ready to help build your home.
And with that, knowing that I'm not going to be able to hide him again, like he's going to know people are here, I will go and pick up Archimedes, whether he wakes up or not, and just sort of set him outside, knowing that as the sun's rising and the dew's out, all of the bugs are sort of going to start waking up as well and be active, so he can get his breakfast, and sort of leave him in the front of the house, so when he wakes up, he can do what he needs to. But as people roll in, I'm going to be going through, just waiting for everyone to gather. I don't want to get started before everyone gets here. And is Beirut here yet or no?
He is. He was one of the first people here, and he has a package of... He has got two separate packages, one that he gives you to open now and one to open later. Would you open them both? Would you only open the one you're supposed to open?
No, I'll respect his wishes in this instance, and open the one he did ask to open now, and sort of see what it is.
They're mending stones that you all would have used kind of to cover your tracks in the past. If you broke something, whoop, that cabinet's now back to not being broken, that even not trained mages can still use for some minor mending magic. Thought if you're going to keep having children do things, we could have some of the younger ones run around and fix the floors or something.
Yeah, and sort of seeing that, how many are there, just from a quick glance?
He would have two. I don't know if you would know where yours are, if they ever made it back to the house or if they got lost at some point, but he brought his two.
With that, Cass is going to ponder for a second, not really remembering where he put his. He remembers having them, and he knows they're in the house somewhere, but really not 100% sure, because it's been a few years at this point since he's last touched them. So with that, he'll thank Beirut for bringing them and reminding him of oh, these exist. They're good to have. And he'll go pick out two of the older kids that were helping yesterday and sort of seem like they are a little bit more mature, and give them the stones. And then we'll sort of point out, we'll have them do the wall. So we'll sort of have them like start fixing that up, and we'll show them how to use it, so then they can sort of start mending that back together. And then everyone else he'll sort of have come inside or sort of just like help with the exterior of the house. Nothing crazy, but just sort of like get it more mended together, like not like heavy labor, but put it back together. We'll assign a couple people to like start getting the wood together from the trees itself. And then I'll go inside with Beirut and do the lion's share of the remaining work in there. So we'll take any wood that's cut, start repairing the boards. And as we're repairing the floorboards, Cass will remember that the mending stones were somewhere under the house. So as we're sort of repairing the floorboards, like Cass will just sort of cast dancing lights under the floorboards and just like sort of peek his head in where there is holes already, just trying to find where he left his.
Yeah, and you'll find them eventually. It just probably takes
I'm assuming like Cass's luck, it'll be more towards like the end, like when we're like last 2 floorboards, being like, right, that's where I put them type situation.
And as you start the day, Frog, how do you end yours, crying on a stone surrounded by 2 to 3 inches of water?
I imagine that this is gonna be quite a long cry, unfortunately. So she'll probably spend a good like 15 minutes just like letting it all out, and then probably also feeling a little bit pressured by the fact that Victorina is standing like 5 feet away, just hanging out, waiting.
Yeah.
She'll probably stop and be like, "Okay, thank you very much for your help. We can go back now."
I wish I could kind of help you a bit more, but you kind of just cried for a while, and that's not my thing. I hope I wasn't too like invasive, just staring at you, but it felt weirder to look around. Let's head back to the tree, and well,
Yeah, Frog is just gonna be like, "Yeah, no worries. I get it. Understandable. It was kind of a weird thing to have to be involved with, so thank you for your help."
Yeah. Like, the 2 minutes were understandable, the next 13 just felt really long, and like, fully respect the grief, but as someone that's just engaging in the space, that's a long time. And I just didn't want to make it worse by commenting on it, but now it's kind of awkward, so we can just end the thought. Well, let's go to the tree and like run, like cast long stride around both of you, so that you're just like moving very quickly towards your way back home.
Good.
Where I imagine you would get back. Are you heading to find Nori, or are you just gonna? It is actual nighttime now. Would you head back to like where you know you could sleep, or would you go find Nori, or what would Frog be doing as she returns to the Druid Grove after saying goodbye to her mother's spirit?
Definitely just going back to where she slept last time in the little cabin, safe from scary dreams, and also not, throwing this all on Nori, so she'll go to the little cabin.
Yeah, and you take all the time you need to sleep it off, and the next morning you're up, which is also around the time that Nori finally returns from her own dream plane. And you both are able to find each other in the morning.
Mm-hmm. Frog will greet Nori, but not tell her what happened, yet at least, and just kind of ask like how she's doing, and if we want to head back now, or if we have more business to take care of here.
Well, Frog, it was a crazy experience. I could make this book, or these books, and I'll show her the journal of someone who we'll name later, and then the history of Archvey. I made these appear in Kilana's hut, room, house thing, and they're like actually here. And I'll also pull out the 5-pound bag of coffee. And now I have 5 pounds of coffee beans for us. I am so excited.
my
But
God.
also, and then Nori will just like continue on with like the dreamscape, and then maybe walk and talk back to where Cass is.
Before we walk and talk and leave, Frog, upon hearing that you can just like manifest things, will be like, I have an idea, and will instruct you that we should go back and you can manifest a crown for Frog King, even though he is no longer Frog King. But she wants him to feel like he's still very important.
And that's
But
not
like a
something that
legit
Nori
crown.
does. Everyone in here can manipulate space. If you want it to be the one making it, you can. It's just Nori seems to have gained an affinity for the area.
Okay. Well, I think that I would let Nori take the lead on it, but I would request that it is gold and does have at least some rubies on it. Anything else you want is fine, but that's just like the bare bones.
Gold and rubies on it. Okay. So Nori, I will think about the crown and it being the perfect shape for Frog King's head, and it will be completely gold with a ruby on the very front of it, and then just little etches of pine cones around it. In addition to, what did we fight when we helped them?
Oh, the shadow cats?
Shadow cats, with little shadow cats etched in and a frog jumping on top of them to show dominance as the king. Yeah, and that'll be his crown.
Beautiful. Frog is very excited about this and will put it in her bag to keep it safe until they get home.
And you all walk and talk, take a couple of breaks, but take your like day-long trip. You're leaving here pretty early in the morning. You're gonna get back there pretty late at night. Same trip you did here. And when you arrive back, you just see an entire community helping Cass build a home. And that's where we'll wrap up for today. Thank you so much for playing. Thank you, audience, for listening. We are Help Action Needed all across the internet. You can find us on Instagram and Threads and on Twitch, and you can email us at helpactionneeded@gmail.com. We really like when we hear from you because it makes it so much fun. We also really like that so many of you love Archimedes, because I know we all love Archimedes, so to hear that you all like him as well is a beautiful thing. Yeah, that is us. We don't really got anything to shout out. But yeah, thank you so much, players, for players. Thank you so much, players, for playing. Thank you, audience, for listening. And as always, goodbye.